Howdy folks, this is Shane. Today's video will focus on amp rattle, how to diagnose it, and how to fix it. This particular amplifier doesn't really have a whole lot of cabinet rattle, but over the years, I've suffered painstakingly to find out about what's going on in there that's making the amp rattle. Through this process of elimination, I've learned a lot about what to do and how to fix it and what to look for, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully this video is helpful. If it is, don't forget you can check out all my other help tutorial videos up in the cards. Let's get into it. Alright, so this is my Bugera V5 Infinium. When I got this, it had a couple of rattles, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what I did to fix it and to also help diagnose it. So there were certain notes where this amplifier would make a really annoying buzzing sound, and I'd heard it before, so I knew what to look for. Basically, this amplifier had the double whammy, and I'll explain why. This was the original Bugera tube that came with the amp, and it actually oscillates on certain frequencies. It's actually like a steel/glass metallic rattle that just annoyed me enough to want to replace it. So I went ahead, I took this cage off and I replaced it with a JJ's tube, and I no longer had that particular rattle. I also found out that this cage rattles and buzzes a bit as well. With it off, the buzz goes away. With it on, it protects the tubes, but there's a little bit of buzz. So tighten that up the best that you can. It can absolutely help. Another thing you want to look for, which is very, very simple, is if you look at the speaker, there's a couple of screws. 1, 2, 3, well, there's actually 4 in there, but I can't see the other 2 there. So make sure the speaker's actually done up tight. Occasionally though, these speakers will just buzz inherently, and there's not a lot you can do about it. This particular turbo sound speaker probably isn't the best speaker in the world at louder volumes. The speaker kind of bottoms out. That's a bit of a different issue, but in terms of buzz, just look to make sure the actual speaker is down and in correctly. Grab a screwdriver, make sure it's secure. One other thing you want to look for as well is actual physical cabinet rattle. This is one thing a lot of people overlook. Make sure these screws are done up properly. This particular baffle board can rattle if it's loose on certain frequencies. Again, you might not think it's as simple as a washer or a screw buzzing, but it can absolutely be that. I've had that on so many amps over the years, including my 2-Rock. It's just something that can happen, so definitely look for that. Another cabinet related issue that you can face, irrespective of the amp size, is amp head rattle. And what do I mean by that? I mean, it might not actually be secure. So these are the screws on the top that take care of the amp head and locks it kind of in place and screws it into the actual box itself. So make sure the head is screwed in properly. Go over all the screws and make sure that's the case. I've also had on particular amplifiers steel edges like this, these things, I don't even know what they're called, like protectors to stop them from knocking into corners or to at least help it from getting damaged. Steel ones of these can rattle if these screws are loose, so double check those. I have no idea what they're called, or at least I can't think of their name. On the handle as well, you can have the same thing. On a Fender amp I had, it was driving me nuts. I couldn't diagnose a rattle. I thought, yeah, I've done the screws up as tight as they'll go, but on the inside of the actual box, there was a bolt that came loose. So that was rattling inside of the head itself. Fix that up, no problems at all. I want to show you my PV Bandit. This is another thing you can look for. Check out how this particular speaker is loaded in. You load the speaker in from the back, as per always, but you also bolt it from the back. It's not just screwed in. There's a washer there also. That can buzz. Make sure all of these screws are done in properly. And also check it out. Sometimes cabinets have the same thing. So if any of these are loose, you're going to get buzz. So just make sure everything is secure and tight. You'll notice there's another one, and there's another one there. So there's quite a few of them on this amp. This is one of the problems I had with this particular amp. I just had to make sure all of those were secure to stop the dreaded buzz. One thing that a lot of people overlook when they're trying to diagnose buzz is this particular cloth. You might be thinking, what are you talking about? So see how there's a hole here? You might not be able to see it. That's where the speaker sits. On the inside of that, they pull the actual cloth tight around the hole and they staple it down. Sometimes there's frayed edges of this cloth, and it can actually be touching the speaker. I had a Blues Junior that did that, and it took me quite some time to work out. When I finally worked out that that was the thing that was making the noise, I cut off the cloth that was touching the speaker and I was good to go. That last scenario is highly unlikely, but it can happen. That was one thing. I even took the amp to a tech and he couldn't work it out. We replaced the tubes, we had a look at everything, we timed everything that we could think of, and then all of a sudden I thought, I wonder if it's the cloth of something touching the speaker, and it was. The way I like to go about it, if I hear either a metallic or sort of like a glass sounding rattle, it's generally the tubes/valves, depending on what you want to call them. If the sound you're hearing sounds more like a buzz or a fizz sound, odds are it's something physical on the amplifier. So go around, secure everything that you can, and see if that helps. Also, put your hand on certain things on the amp and see if that stops it while you're playing a note. Always try to play a note that makes the amp make the noise, and then use your other hand to try and diagnose where it's coming from. Just a warning, don't touch the tubes when they're hot. They get extremely hot and you'll burn your hand. When I say touch around the cabinet and see if anything you do actually stops it. Start from the handle, work your way around and see if that fixes the problem. Thanks for watching. My name's Shane. If this video was helpful, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up. I absolutely appreciate that. If you want to see more of these videos, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell for notifications from my channel. Thanks again for watching. Hope this video was helpful. Catch you soon. See ya.